Hey you guys, this is Melanie, and this is the second part of my video, and I've decided to do it outside because it's such a lovely night. I must warn you, I do have some cats, so they might visit me during the video. Anyway, in the last video, I was just summing up who Chase was as a person and kind of touching upon some of the assistive technology that he uses on a regular day basis. And I really want to focus on things that we might not see on a regular day basis, but things that would really benefit him and kind of some of the things that he's using now, kind of the pros and cons to it. But also trying to think of things that are out there that might not be so common because he is using things like pens and pencils and the internet. But I think there's a lot of other things out there that, as a family, they don't know about. Like I had mentioned this before, that his grandmother is a teacher, and I feel that although she's been in the system, she feels that a child with learning difficulties and just having physical difficulties, it's something that you just work through. If you don't know how to spell, then you just work on some phonics. So it's not that they don't accept that he has difficulty, it's just something that they feel like he could work his way out of. And I feel that's a lot of approach to parents that you can just work to understand it. But a lot of times, um, whether you want to or not, it's stressful for the student, and sometimes it's just beneficial to have that um, assistive technology, and it also is a lot faster for them. And I'll touch on that a little bit later. But I had mentioned before that he does use a special pen slash pencil slash crayon, and they're a lot thicker, and they also connect to his hand because he has low um, control with his arm, which they're strengthening. One thing that he does is the raised board that he writes upon. And these are all great for school and for his house, and he has them available. But if considering how many times do you go out and you use a large pencil, it's not very common. So right now they're trying to scaffold him out of that in being able to use a regular pen. So when he does get older, he's able to um, control his hand better. And also, even with the raised board, how many times do you go out and you carry your raised board when you're writing? It's very uncommon. So they're still working with him, and as he gets older, he is getting more strength in his arms, which gives him the ability to not use things as much. Um, I had also told his grandmother about the raised paper, um, both for coloring and writing. But considering they can be quite costly, and you don't get much paper when you order them online. So I recommend, that I'd seen this before, is taking wide ruled paper, which you really can get most anywhere, and highlighting so they can visually see where to write in between the lines. Um, and another thing that I recently saw, um, Chase is very big with textile. He's constantly moving his arms. And this isn't a product that you can go and find in Walmart or any type of website, but I had seen a teacher make it. It is this, if you have Velcro and the soft part, she had taken it and made it into a loop so that it connects around a student's hand. So instead of them moving their hands and always touching what is around them, they then are able to just hold their hand and either keep it in their hand and touch it, or put it on their desk and touch it. It's kind of like a stress ball, but it has more of that soft texture to it. Um, Another thing that I had stumbled upon that I think would be really great, and knowing that he has trouble with mobility with his arms, and the fact that he is kind of weak, I had found a website. It's a Delaware uh, instructive technology website where it gives students, and also those that are a little bit older, elderly, a chance to go fishing that might have one arm mobility, or have with both arms, it's hard for them to hold. So I thought that was really cool, and I stumbled upon that, and that's something that would be really great for Chase, just because he does love to go fishing. Um, Another thing that, although he does use a calendar, I think another thing that would be really great for him would be to get one of those watches um, that we had talked about in Chapter 10. Um, the fact that he is always worrying about what time is lunch and what time are we going to the store. And so this is a great way for him to also visually see time, but it would also be something great where he could program things, because he is definitely the kind of kid that if you tell him Friday we're going to have Chinese, he will hold it to you, and if you do not stick to your little lunch date, he will become very upset. So, getting those organizers and planners and calendars would definitely, or even a watch, be great for him. Um, so, one of the things that I had found on through working with one of the teachers, um, and you can also through it, they have an article on closing the gap. It's called Kurzweil 3000. It's a little different. Now I know most people are going to highly recommend using an iPod or something like this, but this is a program um, which, now I have my notes, so I'm going to keep referring to them. But it is a program um, for those that have difficulty with um, writing or reading. Um, I actually was reading a article online, and it said was talking about 10 things to know about assistive technology. And I picked out some of the things, and they really recommend with assistive technology is that it should be cheap and available. And I think that's one of the things is there is so much stuff out there, but how available and how inexpensive is it? So I really think as a family, like I said, they're divorced, and the fact they have two kids, and one has, substantial difficulties both with learning and physical, they don't need to be spending their money on um, these large, huge items when they could, in my opinion, be getting it uh, somewhere else and a lot cheaper. But you just need to know where it is. And it needs to be accessible. And I don't think that's always so, um, as much as it is out there, I don't think many people know about that. And I think that is one thing that I'm really taking from this class is realizing that I need to be able to tell people, especially parents, um, how to benefit their child. And another thing is offering training. I don't think as teachers we're trained very much. Like I said, a lot of times we know what's out there, but we're not trained in many things because, in a way, I kind of get it because there are so many technologies out there. You can't be trained in everything. So, like I said, one of the things that I stumbled across was a program was Kurzweil 3000, and I'm going to put up some like articles on it, which will walk you through it. But I'll walk you through it a little bit better. Gives you a 30-day trial, which I think is great when we were just talking that it should be cheap and accessible. So it gives you a chance for you to get a feel and see if you like it instead of being put into the spot of buying it before you know if you like it. Um, so the Kurzweil 3000 is a great way, and it gives chance. It gives students who are low in writing or reading um, the ability to not have that difficulty affect them. Um, so one of the quotes that I read is a good reader can oh wait, I'm sorry, a someone that is not good at reading also be someone that's good at writing. So a lot of times you see that cause and effect that if you're not a good reader, you're also not a good writer, or vice versa. If you're not a good writer, you're not a good reader. So they're really taking that concern off that is not having one affect the other. So as the program starts off, and you can see in the articles that I'm going to post, it starts off with um, first part is a brainstorming part where you have the opportunity to pre-write, and it offers you graphic organizers and writing templates, which is really awesome. So it gives the student a chance to really think out his thoughts before really putting it into a draft. So once you outline it, um, they will give you can take that text and see if there's anything available online. Kind of just like what I did with the Layman Library. you can go on and type in assistive technology and things just fly up. So this program, if you take some of your thoughts on brainstorming and plug them in, they'll show you some things that are online that might assist you towards finding things to back up your knowledge. The next is drafting your paper. And the nice thing with the brainstorming is the fact that you can pull and put it into the draft. So then you can elaborate. But also with that, and I know I would be a huge fan, is so many times I'm working on a project and on one page is the text that I want and I need to write it on the next page and I have to maneuver all of my screens on my computer so that I can see both at the same time. But in this program it has a split screen so that you can see the outline and brainstorm and then be able to see what you're writing at the same time, which I think is great for someone that is not able to make the connection. Um, then also, once you're finished with that, you have the opportunity to revise, and they have some great things with the revisions. They have um, a part where it's all connected to the thesaurus and dictionary, so you're able to go through, look up words, just make sure that you spelled them correctly. Is there another word that might mean that? There's a homophone part, so it's really great, and it really breaks the writing into different categories. Um, and the nice thing is, and I didn't say this before, is with the draft, it also gives you a word um, bank kind of thing, is that words are being connected as you're writing. So it's not like, it's kind of like a predictor, but it gives you a chance that while you're writing, if you can't think of a word, you can look up in the word box. It might suggest something to you. Um, and then you can edit it. So again, that goes back to the spell check. You can then play it back to you to hear you, play it back so you can hear what you wrote. And because a lot of times with students, they what they read makes sense, but then when they hear it, they then catch their mistakes. And because he is, I mean, his eyes are good. He's a, and I said he's very picks up detail. This would, I think, beneficial because it's something you can see and hear, but it definitely would be something that would need to be a little bit louder because has trouble with his hearing. And going back to that, I also think that because he has such difficulty reading and writing, that books on tape would be something that would be really beneficial to him. Um, and I think more and more um, we are starting to find books out there. I know for me, when I was in school and I was in special ed, it had the big clunky headphones, and now things are becoming a little more accessible, being on iPads or um, Mac computers, or even there's websites where you can download whole books. So I think these are all things that would really benefit him, especially he's still young and he's still working on things. And although he is delayed, these are definitely things that will help him in the near future for when he does go to middle school and then even to high school, because as you grow up, things get harder. So you need those extra supports as you're going through school. So I'm going to end this and then I'm going to start another video because I'm cutting it close.